Kate had the kind of presence that turned heads and quieted rooms. Stunning, confident, razor-sharp. She was the woman people watched from afar, awed by her beauty and intimidated by her certainty. At 26, she married Daniel, the kind of man who didn't just love her, he saw her. He saw the fire behind her charm, the brilliance behind her smile. He steadied her storms. Their wedding was the kind that made people cry. Two souls so obviously in sync, so full of promise, you'd bet your life on their forever. But even fairy tales have shadows. For years and 2 children later, the vows that once stirred hearts felt like distant echoes. Kate had changed. Her fire, once captivating, had turned searing. She was constantly on edge, snapping over dishes, sighing through conversations, wielding sarcasm like a sword. Her once loving words now carried barbs. Daniel moved through the house like a ghost. Quiet, careful, tired. The laughter was gone. The tenderness, too. He didn't fight. He didn't shout. He just vanished. Not physically, but emotionally. He buried himself in spreadsheets and frequent flyer miles. It was easier to miss his flight home than to face another evening of silence and side eyes. The marriage was still intact on paper, but in reality, they were roommates raising children in a house built on tension. Kate blamed him, of course. Blamed his distance, his apathy, his weakness, until one night, alone in the bathroom, clutching the sink, her reflection smeared with tears and mascara. One thought landed like a gut punch. What if this isn't him? What if I'm the one tearing this down? That question didn't just haunt her. It undid her. Kate had always prided herself on her strength. A Proverbs 31 woman, in public, polished and prayerful. But behind closed doors, she was worn thin. Her faith had become functional. Prayers muttered in exhaustion. Scriptures skimmed for quick fixes. The anger she never dealt with had mutated into bitterness. Something had to break. So she did. She started journaling, not pretty entries but messy ones. Ugly truths spilled in ink. She joined a women's Bible study, not to teach or impress, but to listen. She found a therapist who didn't let her hide behind intellect. She read Proverbs again and saw herself in her worst light. The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands, the foolish one tears hers down. She began to weep again, to pray again, not with platitudes, but desperation. She confessed her resentment. She stopped rehearsing Daniel's flaws and started repenting for her own. She didn't tell him she was changing. She showed him. She chose her words carefully. Apologized awkwardly at first, then sincerely. She didn't meet distance with punishment. She met it with grace. When Daniel mentioned another business trip, she didn't snap or sulk. She smiled. I hope it goes well. And this time she meant it. 3 months later, Daniel didn't go on that trip. Instead, he sat across from her one quiet evening at the kitchen table. The kids asleep, the dishwasher humming. And with a look she hadn't seen in years, he said softly, "You've changed." Kate looked up, startled. "For a while," he continued, voice thick, "I didn't know how to reach you. I felt like a stranger in my own home. I stopped trying, because I didn't think you wanted me anymore." Her eyes welled. Her hands trembled. "But now, I see glimpses of the woman I married. I feel like I'm coming home again." There were no grand gestures, no orchestra swells, just 2 broken people at a table, quietly choosing each other again. And for Kate, it was everything. Healing wasn't instant. Rebuilding took time, unlearning old rhythms, rewriting habits forged in pain. But the Cold War was over. Slowly, the warmth returned. Kate still stumbled, still raised her voice some days. But she'd been humbled, softened, anchored in something far deeper than willpower, in the grace that saved her from herself. She didn't save her marriage by force or by charm. She saved it by surrender. The scripture she clung to like a lifeline was 1 Peter 3 verses 1 to 2. They may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives, when they see the purity and reverence of your lives. And when she doubted what kind of beauty could heal a fractured home, she turned to 1 Peter 3 verses 3 to 4. The unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Kate learned that true power isn't in being louder or tougher. It's in being rooted, broken open, and made whole by the God who specializes in resurrection. She was once the storm. Now she had become the stillness, and that stillness saved her home.